From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 20th, 2020. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas said yesterday that he was ending all agreements with Israel and with the United States because of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's vow to annex parts of the West Bank and the U.S. peace plan, which relates to that. According to a copy of his remarks from the PA's official Wafa news agency, Abbas told Palestinian leaders in Ramallah the Palestine Liberation Organization and the State of Palestine are absolved as of today of all the agreements and understandings with the American and Israeli governments and of all the obligations based on these understandings and agreements, including the security ones. Abbas has made similar threats in the past, and it is unclear what this declaration will actually mean on the ground. The PA's cabinet of ministers is set to meet tonight for an emergency session to discuss Abbas's remarks and what, if any, steps might be taken. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo responded to Abbas's statements, telling a press briefing today that the U.S. regrets the Palestinian leaders' declaration. He said, "We hope the Palestinian leadership will see that it is in the interest of their people for coordination to continue." More for you now on the cargo flight that last night made history, being the first known commercial flight from the United Arab Emirates to land in Israel. As we reported to you, the flight was carrying humanitarian supplies for the Palestinians to help them deal with the coronavirus pandemic. And according to the UN's Special Coordinator for the Middle East peace process, it included 16 tons of medical supplies, including protective equipment and 10 ventilators. While Israel does not have formal ties with the UAE, outgoing Israeli ambassador to the UN, Dani Danon, tweeted, "Hopefully soon we will see passenger flights too." Having visited, he wrote, "I know the UAE is a fascinating place and look to continue improving relations between our countries." New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announced today that religious gatherings can begin again in the state on a very small and limited scale, with no more than 10 people present at once, stressing that caution and safety measures must be strictly in place, including social distancing and wearing face masks.
We're working with religious institutions. Right now, they can have up to 10 people with strict social distancing guidelines at religious gatherings. We've asked them to consider drive-in and parking lot services for religious ceremonies.
Cuomo said the state would be working with its Interfaith Advisory Council as to how to bring back regular services and ceremonies. Earlier today, it was reported that New York police dispersed what seemed to have been a prayer service of dozens of people at a Hasidic synagogue in Brooklyn. This according to Yeshiva World News. And earlier this week in New York, the NYPD shut down a yeshiva that was operating with some 70 students, both incidents, of course, in violation of COVID-19 measures. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio had tweeted earlier this week about the yeshiva, "I can't stress how dangerous this is for our young people. We're issuing a cease and desist order and we'll make sure we keep our communities and our kids safe." And as Israel slowly reopens schools and businesses this week under coronavirus guidelines and safety measures, restaurants are set to open as soon as next week with social distancing in place. And Israeli inventors have found a way to let patrons eat out without having to remove their face masks. The new mask contraption opens over the mouth area via a remote control. Vice President of the Tel Aviv area-based Avtipus Patents and Inventions, Asaf Gitelis, demonstrated the device to Reuters and told them it is patent pending and hopefully will be manufactured soon.
The mask will be opened mechanically by hand remote or automatically when the fork is coming to the mask. Then you can eat, enjoy, drink, and you take out the fork and it will be closed and you're protected against other people sitting with you.
And with coronavirus restrictions in place, police in Israel and organizers of the annual Jerusalem Day March reached an agreement today. The march takes place every year on Yom Yerushalayim to mark the reunification of the capital, normally with masses of people in close proximity taking part. Well, this year the event will be a much smaller one, and instead of a march through the narrow streets and passageways of the old city, 700 people will be allowed to form a human chain, albeit with 6 feet between each of them, around many of the old city gates. A convoy of cars will also circle the old city, and a ceremony will be held at the Western Wall with limited attendance. There will also be performances from top Israeli musicians by the old city walls and the Tower of David. Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day, is coming up tomorrow, Thursday night, into Friday. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight, for Wednesday, May the 20th, 2020. At 7 o'clock, the award-winning Israeli TV series A Touch Away. At 8, filmmaker Jamie Bernstein talks about life with her father, the legendary conductor Leonard Bernstein. Then at 9 tonight, Mark Golub sits down with Broadway composer and lyricist Stephen Schwartz, who discusses some of his classic creations, including Pippin, Wicked, and The Prince of Egypt, and talks about how Jewish values have shaped his life and work. That's on L'Chaim. At 10, a celebration of the life and music of Irving Berlin. At 10:30, it's Jewish Cinematheque, talking about the documentary Fiddler Miracle of Miracles, which tells of the unusual circumstances that led to the creation of the musical and film Fiddler on the Roof. And coming up right after this newscast is Thinking Out Loud with Micah Halpern. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 20th, 2020. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.